So this is lesson 88 for honors geometry. It's graphing linear inequalities, which is very easy, so I'm not going to take much time on this. It's something that we did in Algebra 1. It's where you need the your pencil and a map color because you're going to color above the line or below the line, and it's going to be solid or dotted, that kind of thing. So make sure you have that. I didn't bring all the materials I needed home, but make sure you have a pencil and a map color and you're coloring them right, that kind of stuff, because you are sending me a picture. So yeah, there you go. Okay, let's see. First thing is you're going to be asked to solve your linear inequalities for y, because you have to. You have to get y by itself. We've got to find the slope. We've got to find the y-intercept to be able to graph them. But some of them you're just asked to solve. You're not asked to graph them, and I'm going to have to turn that light off because it is making too much of a glare. Okay. Okay. So let's see. Move this way away from my skylight. So we need to solve for y. So subtract 3x. So that is 2y greater than 1 minus 3x. We divide by 2. So y is greater than 1/2 minus 3x over 2. And that's all you'll do. If they ask you to solve for y, and that's all you need to do. Okay? Let's try another one like that. Let's see. 3x minus 4y greater than 12. We want to solve it for y. Again, if that's what you're asked to do, that's all you do. You solve for y, and that's it. You solve for y, and you go on. Okay? So let's see. We're subtracting 3x. So negative 4y greater than 12 minus 3x. Divide by negative 4. Okay, now remember from Algebra 1, when you're dealing with inequalities and you divide by a negative, you've got to flip that inequality sign. So negative 3 plus 3x over 4. And if you're asked to solve for y, stop right there. Don't do anything else. Okay? Now, when you're asked to graph, you've got y less than 1/2 x plus 3. So you identify your slope, which is 1/2. You identify your y-intercept, which is 3. And then it's a dotted line because there's no equal to bar. No equal to bar gives you a dotted line. And you're going to shade below because it's less than. You're shading below because it's less than. Okay, so let me grab my graph paper. And I need to finish folding up. Sorry, you're going to go black for a minute. Okay, so here's my graph paper. And then draw your X and Y on it. I'm doing that right now. Again, you're going black. Okay, so make sure you draw your X and Y on there, like I've done right here. Then my y-intercept is 3, so I start up 3. My slope is 1/2, so I go up 1 right 2. I leave it dotted, so we're not going to draw this line in solid, so make sure you don't draw the line in. You leave it dotted like this. Put arrows on it, because lines go on forever. And then you're shading below, so you're shading underneath here. You're going to shade all underneath there. I'll be right back. You're going black again. Okay, sorry. So then you're shading all underneath here. Doesn't have to be perfect. You're shading below, and that's where it is. That means no points on the line work. None of the points on the line make the inequality true. It's everything underneath the line, everything in the shaded part. So let's see. Let's graph another one. On this one, it is y greater than or equal to 2x minus 1. So my slope is 2. Always make sure you identify this on your regular sheet of paper first. Then go to your graph paper. You need to make sure you send me both pictures. The regular sheet of paper, and make sure you send me a picture of your graph paper. This is actually going to be a solid line because it's got an equal to bar. And then you're going to shade above because it's greater than. So then flipping this over, drawing my x and y axis. My y-intercept is -1, so I'm starting at -1. My slope is 2, so that means up 2, right 1. This line we are going to make solid. So make sure you draw that line in. Solid line. Shading above. So you're going to shade all up here above the line. That means everything on the line, because it's a solid line, everything on the line makes the inequality true, and everything above it makes it true. Okay, then I want to talk about example 3 on page 575. Example 3 on page 575 says Lily and Amit are playing a game. At the end of the game, the sum of their scores will always be at least 21. At least 21, that's greater than or equal to 21. Let X represent Lily's score and Y represent Amit's score. Draw a graph showing that the set of all possible scores. So that means X plus Y, Lily plus Amit, is always going to be at least 21, so greater than or equal to 21. It says draw a graph. Don't graph. I don't want you to graph it. Don't graph. But we do want to know, is it possible that the game is over when Lily has 13 points? So Lily equals 13. That means X equals 13. And Amit has 8 points. So Amit equals 8. So Y equals 8. So we want to know if these two numbers make it true. You don't have to graph to do that. You just have to plug in. You take the 13 for X and plug it in. You take the 8 for Y and plug it in and see if that's greater than or equal to 21. Well, 13 plus 8 is 21. Well, as long as we're either greater than or equal to 21, it works. So yes, the game can be over when Lily has 13 and Amit has 8. And that's exactly the way you're going to work practice E. Exactly the same way. You're going to write out a little... it's got 15 joules of power on it, on E. So you would want it less than or equal to 15. On practice E, it looks like it's going to be less than or equal to 15 because you don't want to go over the joules that it would provide, okay? So that's how you'd set it up, but you'd have an X plus a Y, and then they want you to test it out. They give you two numbers to test it out, so use those two numbers and test it out just like we did on that example. And that's really all there is to lesson 88. So let me make the assignment for you. Let's see, you're gonna do the warm-up on page 574. On number 2 on the warm-up, just set them equal to each other. Set equal. And find X and Y. Okay? On number 2 on the warm-up, set them equal. Then find X and Y. Then you're going to do the practice A through E. Looks like B, C, and D are graphs. B, C, D are graphs. So make sure you get them graphed right. Make sure you solve for Y correctly on C and D. C and D have to be, you have to solve for Y on those. Okay? Then you're going to do 1 and 2. No, you're not going to do number 2. Sorry, that's my fault. I hope I didn't put that on my MCS. If I did, ignore that. I don't want you to do number 2. I want you to do 1 and 3. 1 and 3, 7 through 11. So again, make sure you do this assignment, because I may have put 2 on the my MCS and it shouldn't be. It should be 1 and 3. Yeah, 1 and 3, 7 through 11. 16, 18, 21, 22, and 23. This is due Thursday the 2nd. Thursday, April 2nd is when this is due. Oh, gosh. Okay, hold on. I messed up everything. Nope, I'm good. Okay, 7 through 11. Yeah, 7 through 11. Let's see. Remember, number 9 is finding the area of an equilateral triangle. So remember, your height of an equilateral triangle is side divided by 2 square roots of 3. That's what you're going to use for the height. Side divided by 2 square roots of 3. So I'm reminding you that for number 9. Then on number 11, set them equal. You're given 2 equations. Set them equal and find x and y. Set them equal on 11 and find x and y. Y'all should be good on that one. That's through 11. I'm just making sure I don't need to tell you anything else. 16, the cross section is a rectangle. On 16, it's a rectangle, so it's just base times height. Just make sure you get the whole base, because they give you the radius is 5, so make sure you find the diameter of that cylinder, and then it's just diameter times the height to get the area of that cross section on number 16. On 18. On number 18, you are asked, you are asked to find the area of a 45, 45, 90 degree triangle with a hypotenuse of 14. Okay, so let me remind you of something. If it's a 45, 45, 90 degree triangle, that means it's a square. That means it's a square. If you've got the hypotenuse, that means you have the diagonal of a square. And remember, I told you the area of a square given the diagonal is diagonal squared divided by 2. Okay? Now what you can do is you can take that area and divide it by 2. So find the area of the square and then divide it by 2 to get the area of that triangle. It's a shortcut. It's an easier way to do it, and it's a good way to see it, to remember that 45, 45, 90 is half of a square. You've got the hypotenuse of the 45, 45, 90, which means you've got the diagonal of a square. So diagonal squared divided by 2, and then you divide that by 2. And that'll get you the area. So anyway, I wanted to point that out. And then I think the rest of them, 22, you just need to set equal to each other. On 22, just set them equal to each other and find x. That's all you have to do on 22. And 23 is an easy setup. 23 shouldn't be a big deal either. Okay, so again, there's your assignment due Thursday, April 2nd.